Hi, I'm Karel King of StanStrength.com, and in today's video, I'm just going to talk about my perspective on the natural limit and other concepts and ideas revolving around performance-enhancing drugs, anabolic steroids, and things of that nature. So I'm by no means an expert on these things. But I am, someone who's been working out for quite a long time, and throughout many times in my since I started working out, I've considered taking PEDs and using them because I really wanted to look like guys that I looked up to because I was a young kid. I really looked at the time. I was really looking up to guys like Greg Plitt. I really wanted to look like Jeff Side at the time. I think that was a very common thing for people who got into working out when I was like 16, when that was back in like 2015, 2016 time. Like people really wanted to have like a body like him, even though he's like a total like dunderhead or douchebag, whatever, right? So yeah, I really like looked up to the guys like Greg Plitt, Brian Alsruhe. Like I wanted to get big and jack like those guys, right? And this is not to say whether they are or aren't, like that's not really like the purpose of this video, but it's more so about how unproductive it is. I would say that a lot of people, and especially with the culture of YouTube fitness right now, it very much seems that we do a lot to make it seem like a naturally attainable and a naturally attained physique is unimpressive. And I know right now, like with like some of the biggest channels in fitness or YouTube fitness are talking about this a lot right now, especially since fake natties and a lot of YouTube channels that are receiving a lot of traction at the moment are ran by people who are enhanced, and therefore like the discussion has been opened up once again, and this is something that gets opened up every couple of years because is usually something that is just kind of like a year-round topic in YouTube fitness, but especially right now since one of the biggest channels at the moment is like currently in a dialogue with someone who really advocates for staying natural, and I myself also advocate staying natural for a variety of reasons. But before I get into that, one thing I want to really, I guess, talk about and rant about is the idea of the natural limit. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it's something that people actually like, I guess, care about or even consider, because I feel like it's the thought process and comes from someone who they're not gonna stay lifting for a while. I feel like anyone who is really dedicated and is going to be really consistent with working out in the gym, they're not concerned with the natural limit. And of course this means like if they're planning to stay natural and stay loyal to the gym and be working out for the rest of their lives, I don't think they're really concerned with the natural limit, because it's not really a concern if you're truly committed, if you're doing it because you want to, because you feel like you maybe have to, if you have the discipline, or if you just feel like your day isn't complete unless you work out, or you feel like the longer you spend time away from the gym, your life just isn't complete, or something to that extent, right? People who are truly dedicated, committed, and loyal to the gym and working out, they don't care about the natural limit. I really think, and I might be very ignorant because, like, for one, I'm sociable, but I don't really engage too frequently with like people, I guess, because it's not really something I'm interested in doing. So I'm really just making an assumption, but and so I'm very liable to being wrong, and that's fine. If I'm wrong, then I would much rather know that I'm wrong and like find out what's real. But generally speaking, if you're going to be consistent to the gym, like, why care about a natural limit? So, and if it's something that you do care about, then it's not so much that you enjoy, it's not even so much that you enjoy the process, it's just that you don't really take pride in progress. Like, if you are making progress, why is that not enough for you? If you're making progress, if you're like seeing some amount of improvement, if you are getting stronger in the gym, why does it matter if you're going to run up against the wall? Like, you don't know for sure that you don't know for sure where that wall is, and I can guarantee you that wall isn't going to be hit in the first 5 or 10 years of lifting. And for me personally, I think that it's kind of difficult to even say like when you'll hit it, because for one, I think you're going to be lifting for so long that generally speaking you probably will never run into it. Because think about how many exercise variations there are that are clearly effective and clearly useful. So for example, like, you're going to tell me that within 10 years you're going to get as good as you possibly can at the bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press, barbell row, chin-ups. Like, you're going to maximize all these things. You're going to get as strong as you ever will in your entire life in all of those lifts. And that's only like 10 of the, like, I don't know how many I just named off, and I'm not going to count, but whatever number of lifts I just named off, like, you're going to tell me that within 5 years you're going to hit your natural muscular limit just because you maxed out those lifts for the rest of your life. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that, like, logically, like, makes sense. Like, it's going to take so much time and effort to even get to the upper limits of your own strength. And why wouldn't you want to find out where that is? I think it's very it has a lot to do with maybe social media. It has a lot to do with maybe being constantly exposed to people all over the world, just stronger, faster, leaner, whatever, than you. And since now we're kind of like this global village where we kind of can always see what someone else is what someone else is up to, and you can really you have infinite access to that, but you're not really seeing everything. You're not seeing their life. The only life that you can see, manage, and essentially keep an eye on is your own. So I really have like this idea where you compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. So and oftentimes, like, the people that you look up to, they weren't like that from birth. They had to struggle to get to where they were. They had to push themselves. They had to put themselves through a process and see progress on it. So the idea of a natural limit just seems stupid. And I just can't understand the point of it. Like, does it just justify not working out? Is it just an excuse like, well, I'm never going to get big as a steroid user, so why even try? You're not showing that you're smart. You're not showing that you, like, have working cognitive abilities by presenting this argument. You're just kind of showing that you want to have a way out. You're showing that you want to have an excuse that is on the most surface level maybe acceptable. Because yeah, you're not going to look nearly as big. You're probably not going to get nearly as strong as a enhanced athlete or a, like, pro level bodybuilder or a, like, world class powerlifter. Chances are you're not going to get there unless you take substances that enhance your body and, like, compromise your health and things of that nature. But why is that even, like, relevant to you? Like, did you apply yourself for at least 5 to 10 years? Most people don't. Like, it's very, very rare to meet someone who is in the gym who has worked out for consistently for that long. Like, as a trainer and as someone who has worked out for quite a while and who manages a gym, when it comes to a lot of the older members of the gym, they're usually members who, after, let's say, an injury or after their health has declined, they want to just, like, prolong their life and keep healthy for as long as possible. So they go to the gym, but it was never really something that they had since they were my age or younger. I started training at 15. I really hope that I can train all the way until I'm like 60 or 75. Like, that would be amazing. And it's very rare to meet someone who has been training since they were like a teenager all the way up until they're pushing closer to 80. It's very rare to see that. And even among people who are younger in the gym, a lot of them have not trained for at least 10 years. Some of them got into it maybe 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And some of them, they look more impressive than others because they admit to using a cycle. I've talked to many people who they look like someone who achieved a very like natural looking physique but they've only been working out for maybe like 1 to 2 years, but they did a full cycle. They did a full cycle of PEDs, and because of that, they grew a lot. And it's not to say that they didn't, work hard or whatnot, but some of them, they just look like they got a natural physique in a shorter time. And I mean, if that's their choice, you make your own decisions and you live with the consequences. But at the same time, for a natural lifter, it shouldn't matter. You should like working out enough. You should like seeing progress enough that you don't want to taint it by taking performance enhancing drugs. If you take performance enhancing drugs, any muscle you build, any strength you gain, you will never be able to say without a doubt it was because of you. As a power builder, someone who has to train for size and strength at the same time because I like to, because I want to, I have to be very intelligent to not make the two conflict with each other too much, because there is a lot of overlap, but there are some things about them that conflict with one another. So any progress I make in my strength, any progress I make in my size, I can always say without a doubt is attributed to my consistency, to things that I have thought through, and things I've planned out, and my ability to stick to those plans, and them working out, whether they be because they were efficient or intelligent, or just because I just kind of worked my way to achieve it. I can always say without a doubt I did that. And I'm not always happy with what I see in the mirror, because I'm a bigger guy and I have my own demons and I'm still working through them. So, but at the same time, like if I were to take a substance that allowed me to, let's say, get to where I want to be in the future a lot sooner, I might like it, I'll like what I'll see. But the thing is, like, would I be able to live with it? Would I be able to live with the thought that the only reason why I accomplished this was because I took something? And I know that's a very simple-minded way of saying it, because you can take as many drugs as you want. If you don't put in the hard work, if you don't actually take care of, like, let's say your diet or something like that, it's not going to work out like that, right? But it's just to reinforce the point, like, even if you do accomplish it through hard work, with that added variable of performance-enhancing drugs and anabolic steroids, there's always going to be this level of doubt of how much of it was the drugs and how much of it was me. When you're natural, you're never going to have to worry about that. Another thing you're never going to have to worry about when you're natural is that as you get older, you're not going to run into those health issues that many enhanced lifters will run into later on in their life. And if you're working out, health needs to be a component. I'm a power builder. I care about strength and size, but I will never, ever pursue that at the cost of health. Because if, for example, I'm going to destroy every single joint in my body in like 5 years just to get as big and as strong and as shortest amount of time possible, that's not a worthwhile trade, because if all things go according to plan, I'm probably going to be living closer to 70. And I don't want to be like just beatboxing with my joints, because every time I move them, they just like make all types of noises by the time I'm 30. So that doesn't really seem like a fair trade-off to me. And also, I don't want to just, put on the most unhealthy amount of weight just to, I don't know, increase my leverages, or like create more cushion for when I bench, and then that shortens the range of motion, and then I can artificially say I increased my bench press by 100 pounds, but then I also added 100 pounds to my already like heavier than normal body, right? So it just doesn't seem like a worthwhile trade-off. If you're going to the gym, no matter what your goal is, health needs to be a component. I'm not saying you need to prioritize it over something else, but health needs to be a component. And when you take something like PEDs, anabolic steroids, you immediately just throw health out the window. You can do a lot to try to get your health back, and hopefully it works. But generally speaking, you're introducing, like, you're playing with fire at that point. It might go well, it might not, and it's more likely that it won't. So why even introduce that as a possible variable when you're natural? It's very, very critical that you balance not comparing yourself to these enhanced lifters. And there's many reasons for that, but namely it's because, one, they're enhanced. You're not going to look like that as a natural lifter, and a lot of people will use that to say, like, to push forward the idea of a natural limit, of like not having to work hard because you're never going to achieve what they achieved. But what I'm saying is, you're not going to look like that, but at the same time, you don't know what you're going to look like in the first place. Why don't you work really, really hard for a really long amount of time and really try to control your diet? Because, like, nowadays food is fucking amazing and tastes so damn good, and it's kind of hard to control sometimes, like, just to be honest, man. But if you can get all those things under your control, who's to say what you're going to look like? You don't know what you're going to look like, so why don't you find out? That's really my thing. Like, as much as the temptation is there for me to hop on anabolics or performance enhancing drugs, I know that there's going to be no benefit, because that's not why I work out. I work out to try to work on myself, to improve myself. And no amount of drugs will ever do the internal things that I want to do. The work on myself has to start from inside, and it's not something that you can inject. You can't inject willpower. You can't inject discipline. And I'm not saying people who inject themselves with these performance enhancing drugs lack those things, but what I am saying is that you can't blame anything else, and you can't take responsibility unless you just rely on you. Not some substance, not some drug, not some workout program, not whatever. Everything at that point will come from you. And I think, as daunting and as scary as that is, I think that's way more liberating. I like the fact that I am responsible for all my strengths and weaknesses. That means that I am responsible and I am capable of improving them and making them better. So when I advocate staying natural, that's what I mean. And another thing that's really important for the natural lifter, because rather than that's not just comparing yourself to enhanced lifters, it's not comparing yourself with really anyone. Like, they're not you, and you don't know what their life is like. You don't know, like, where it's going to go, where it's been, and stuff like that, and you don't know where you're going to go, and you should spend some time to figure out, like, where you come from, to really just sort yourself out, right? And the most important thing as a natural lifter is, like, deciding on the path you want to go down and just trying to get as far as possible. The thing is, I don't think failure is not being able to get where you want to be. I think failure is being so far off the path that you want to walk on. The further away you are from the path that you want to walk on, that's failure. And when you're a natural lifter, the most important thing for you is just staying on the path, staying focused on you. So I'm, like, all over the place with this. And I feel like I'm just going in too many directions right now. So there's going to be, this is a very much like just a rant. This is just very much something that put together at the last minute. But hopefully there was like nuggets in here that you found useful and enjoyable. But I will be making more videos on this topic, and I hope that those videos will be just as useful, if not more, and way more organized. Like, I'll actually write down my thoughts before recording for future videos. But the main takeaways with this video was, don't believe in a natural limit, because you don't know what that limit is for you. If that natural limit exists, and chances are it does, chances are you're not going to train long enough to get there. Because there's so many things that you can improve on, there's so many things that you can work on, that it shouldn't even matter. You shouldn't like expect to not look good or look freaking amazing. You should just expect yourself to progress, to make progress. That's the most important thing. Another takeaway that I really want to end this video with is compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Whether they're enhanced, whether they're natural, whatever it is, just work. If you keep working, eventually you'll get way further from who you were when you started, that it's almost irrecognizable. And that should be enough. That should be worth it. That should make it worth it to train for years and years and years, not because you looked a certain way faster. So that's another thing that I want to make sure is a takeaway of this video. Like I said, I'll be making more videos on this topic about natural, staying natural and the natural lifter mindset, and my personal views on, my personal non-expert views on performance enhancing drugs. But like I said, I feel like I'm just kind of running out. I feel like I'm just going in too many directions to continue this conversation. So I will be making videos in the future. I post on my website workout programs, articles, and hopefully you can find those useful as well at stanstrength.com. Have a good night.